Hey everybody, welcome to our first casual bonus world building episode of the year. I'm joined again by Amy. How's it going?
Hello. I'm good.
Awesome. Today, I think we're going to be talking about another one of the sort of major cities in our sort of custom D&D, or, well, play it with other RPG settings if you want, other RPG systems if you want, our custom RPG setting of Vallanna. Before we jump into it, though, I do just want to point people, as I did in the intro to last week's episode, towards our public Discord server that we now have. If you use Twitter, or even if you don't use Twitter, you can go to our Twitter page and find the link to the server in the pinned tweet at the top of our profile. That's twitter.com/pretendwithdice. So yeah, come and hang out on Discord and chat rubbish with us. And there's a lot of meme posting going on, I think, is the main thing of it. Yeah. But,
yes,
so,
we
yeah.
love a meme.
It's, But yeah, I'm sure some talk about the podcast will break out at some point. It'll be fine. But yeah, come and hang out. It's, the link is on our Twitter page. Okay, so for those of you who haven't listened to one of these sort of world-building-y sort of casual discussions before, we have our own custom setting called Vallanna that we play all of our D&D adventures in, and we have a page for it up on worldanvil.com. Again, I will tweet out the links to it if you haven't found it before. Or you can find direct links in our Discord server. Hint, 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 hint. I'll post those links as well. And yeah, so this is kind of like a fun kind of world that I've been working on for a while. We've got maps, we've got cities, we've got settings, we've got weird characters, we've got all that kind of stuff. And today we are talking, I think we decided, haven't we? We're going to talk about the southern sort of major city, which goes by the name of Serenal. This is a city that we've kind of mentioned a couple of times in passing before on the podcast, generally in these world building episodes, but because I've been a bit sort of hesitant to kind of sort of drop it into conversation in the actual D&D games because I knew we didn't have anything worked out for it before. But yeah, so today we're actually going to come up with some details for it. So the kind of vague main sort of not selling point. The what's the elevator pitch? Is that the term? Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
Have you not heard that
sales pitch?
Yeah, the sales pitch. Yeah, like the kind of one-line blurb sort of thing of the city. Is it's like a major sort of. It's the largest city on the largest lake in the kingdom, Lake Arla, which is fed by waters coming down from the huge ice spine mountains, which are sort of in the center of the continent. And it's it's got a kind of sort of French Riviera sort of feel to it. I've got kind of in my head. Its ruler is the Duke. What did I call it? What's his name? I'm really with it. You can tell. Let me find the royal family page on here as well. It's ruled by the king's son, Walton. He is the Duke of Serenal, and he is 56 years old. That is about all the detail I have for this city at the moment. So yeah, today, we're gonna figure some stuff out for it.
We will rectify.
Yes, yeah. Okay, I'm going to open a Word document as well. Because I'm really bad at keeping notes on these. Again, people, if this is your first world building episode, if this is your first bonus episode, we keep things a little bit more casual and loose in these than with our normal ones. Yeah,
we throw things on the board and see what sticks.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go through and edit out all of my umming and ahhing and everything that I normally have to go to painstaking lengths to remove from a regular episode. It's not even funny.
It's all good.
Okay. So my main thought with this city is sort of population wise, it's kind of like the biggest game in the area, really. Probably about 200,000 people in the city.
Okay.
It's pretty, so I've intentionally kept it kind of vague, our setting wise. We're not going like full kind of feudal, like, there's, a big city has 1,000 people in, there are some large settlements, especially, and yeah, it's sort of, I'm keeping things sort of generally kind of vague as to like technology levels and things as well, because I want the ships to have cannons on, as we've experienced in our pirate adventure that we had.
Yeah.
But also most people
you want some
don't have
level
guns.
of technology.
Yeah,
you want some level of technology available to like a small percentage of the population, kind of thing.
The Navy has cannons, but there's no real kind of guns around, other than maybe some dwarfs are tinkering around with them, maybe.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of like a World of Warcraft type thing, really. Most people don't have guns except for the dwarves. And they keep it on the hush-hush.
Yeah, it's very experimental and temperamental technology that they don't want falling into the wrong hands.
For sure. Yeah, you want people. It's the sword industrial complex is keeping business down. So
swords are less likely to blow up in your face.
Yeah. So yeah, Serenal. Like, so my main idea, kind of that I'm sort of focusing on here, is kind of like a sort of the picture that I've got in my head is almost like a kind of view from the water, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of sort of picturing that it's got quite a sort of sprawling kind of length, like it, rather than being sort of like a blob. It's maybe kind of a bit more kind of longer.
Yeah, you could have it like it's cut into the cliffside and it's gone up in like levels. Like it's like like you'd have like different like sections. Not like a cave system, but kind of like you could cut through behind it or something. Sort of like if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like you have like the sand, like I can imagine like it could be like a sandbank almost. At like you go up the sandbank, and there's like drops into other parts of it or something, and then on the actual like sea side, it's the parts of the city are like cut into the cliffside, and some are built out into the lake as well. So
sort of like constructed kind of like a little bit of like a sort of what's that city's name in Lord of the Rings?
Petra.
Oh, Petra. I wasn't thinking
kind
that.
Kind of idea.
Yeah. Oh, no, that works. I was kind of thinking more of like, it's more like, this isn't even the first time that we've referenced this in a world building episode. What's the capital city of Gondor?
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, that kind of like cut into the mountainside sort of
kind of thing. But Minas Tirith is more of like built out. Kind of. Because it's built into the rock face kind of thing. But yeah, on the sea, Petra is kind of similar as well, but it's basically the desert. It's cut into like the cliffs, because it's sheltered from like sandstorms and stuff.
Yeah.
That I see that kind of working, but you could also have like parts of it built out as well as like maybe
kind of into the water.
Like maybe like sometimes during the year there's like a surge of water, and they act as kind of like a windbreaker kind of thing to like make sure the lake stays kind of not too turbulent or something like that. It's kind of like like a beachhead kind of thing. You could have bits like that, or just I just have the images of gondolas now.
Yeah, well, that kind of fits in with my sort of view of like it's kind of a bit of a resort town, like not fully, like it's not all like that, but it is sort of, there's a bit of a kind of like, okay, we're not on the sea, it's a big lake, but like, we're not going to have massive storms or anything on it. It's a bit warmer, we're down south now, and things are sort of a little bit more chilled out. There's a lot of well, my thought of it was maybe that the water and this sort of plays into like the shape of the city. So rather than it being a blob, it's kind of like a bit kind of like longer along along the coastline of the lake. Is that maybe the waterfront property is quite sought after?
Like California.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. People have got holiday homes and stuff. Not holiday homes. You know what I mean? Like proper. There's like lakeside mansions and things and that with their own private jetties and things.
No, I can totally see that.
Yeah,
I can totally see. And then further inland, you have more the hustle and bustle of the actual
like, I mean
stuff.
There's sort of plays in with the geography as well. It's because the lake also drains, sort of continues further north into what becomes like what we've called the Lifeblood River, because it basically goes the length of the country. You said this before we started recording, is maybe it's it's sort of a bit of a hub of trade, so stuff from the mountains and stuff gets sort of put on barges here and sent up the river. So I'm thinking maybe
you could have I'm thinking of Aberdeen right now, because it has like 2 rivers, and the city is like over the 2 rivers, and there's like the center of Aberdeen is like in this is it an estuary? Can't remember, kind of thing. And it's built in the middle, but there's also like there's 2 bridges on either side to get over the 2 rivers, and ships come in on the harbour and stuff.
So maybe there's like a section that's kind of sort of like that. There's like a kind of built up section, a bit of a kind of like nicer section, and then there's also a bit more of a kind of like traditional sort of like industrial dockside bit, but it's as far away from the nice houses as you can get, sort of thing.
Yes, but you could. There's like I could imagine as well. There would be like you could see the ships come. There would be places that you could go and see the ships coming through, and some of them will be large, and some of them will be small, and some of them will be different, and like different. Like at the River Thames, like almost kind of thing. There'd be bridges,
for sure.
maybe.
Yeah, like there's a lot of a lot of them are barges, but maybe because the river does go all the way to the sea, maybe some ships can make it all the way up. I mean, I've kept it a bit vague on the map as to how a lot of these sort of river crossings are, because I have drawn some bits where like, hey, there's a bridge here, but like maybe they were sort of made as like a decree or something by the king of like, no, we need to keep trade flowing, so all of these bridges need to be high enough for ships to get under, or at least like they've dredged the river or something.
It really depends what they're transporting. If they're transporting like a lot of heavy goods as well, they need ships that are wide enough and sturdy enough to withstand that weight. Like stone, for example, I can imagine that certain like mineral stones are you'll have tons of different types of stone for building, and they'll be like, oh no, I want that kind of stone. Well, that's in like the south. Like genuine granite from the Ice Spine Mountains,
like,
exactly.
They want it on the north coast and things. That's so okay. So maybe the city's got like where the industrial area is a bit more of like a blob kind of thing. There's like there's warehouse district, a bit more of a kind of hustle and bustle sort of city. And then the sort of more sort of swanky area sort of just extends out along that as, the rich people are trying to get further and further away from the, the business area.
Because you've got, I'm just looking at the map as well, and you've got like this little lip coming out at the side. You could have it that little like angle is where all the rich people are kind of living, because they're trying to get away from like the dock. Like they can see the docks, but they're like away from like the smell or the they can turn and look the other way. They don't have to necessarily stare at it all the time, but they can look out into the lake, because it's like, I don't know if you can see that.
I see what you mean. Because I don't know if you can turn on the grid overlay that I've got on there. On the right hand side of the page. Yes.
Grid and legend.
Each square is meant to be like 10 miles. So I mean, if this is a major city, that does make sense that maybe it does extend all the way down to that lip, and maybe that's where like the really expensive kind of like ones, and maybe that lip is a bit of higher ground as well.
Yeah, it's like a rising cliff almost.
Yeah.
And then it like drops round or something, and it makes a natural kind of bay area as well.
Yeah, so there is like a bit of a sort of seafront with some sort of promenades and things, and sort of there's the bit that you want to be seen in, which is maybe like the south end of town.
Yes,
and then the north end is where all those like all the common folk are. Yeah,
and if you're really lucky, you live in the west end of town.
Yes, yeah,
furthest west.
I mean, it's still not that far west, but it's west enough. You know,
it's west enough.
Yeah.
It's west of where you are.
Exactly. And maybe like the Duke's Palace is right on the tip of that, like west enough bit,
it's
so
like,
he's looking down
and it
across
overlooks
the whole.
everything.
Yeah, and it's not like as big as like the King's Palace in the capital, but it's like it's still pretty big. You know,
You could also have it where his palace is. It's kind of like the lighthouse as well, so it's seen from everywhere.
Maybe there's like a kind of
thing.
cool like eternal flame on the roof of the palace, so it can be like, yeah, everybody can see where we are, sort of thing. But it also like it's just been like co-opted by people who use use it for trade, and that they're just like, yeah, we can see the palace, we're getting close, you know. Just we've seen that we've gone past the light, keep going for another couple of miles, we're nearly there. It was someone's like idea to like make it into a bigger thing than it actually was. It's like, no, we have to light the flame. The flame must always be lit. No, I'm sure we can do without trade for one day. Or maybe it really wasn't like a trade thing. Maybe it was like because basically we're in the sort of the fake sort of era that we're in. It's not fake. It's not real. You know, the era that we're in.
Imaginary.
Yeah, imaginary. We're at like 1308 or something. So maybe going back like a couple of hundred years, there was some king or whatever who really preferred this town to the major capital. Like he was really like, I like the warm weather, I'm going to be down here more than I am in, you know.
This is my summer palace. I want to go to my summer palace.
But then he spent most of his time there. Yeah, and he had like an overzealous kind of like court wizard who was like, the king is in, he was like, everyone must know where the king is in residence. We will light a flame on the roof so that people know that this is where the king lives and stuff. And it's just like a tradition. Or maybe he like was really overzealous with his magic and no one can put it out.
Or he never actually, that's why it's always lit, because he never actually left. And in homage to him, they kept the flame burning.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
or he disappeared.
What, the king or the wizard?
The king. Well, both maybe. They both disappeared. There could be a whole story about that.
Or maybe the mage is like he's like an elf or something, and he's still there, and he's just like, he's decided this is his duty. Like,
oh, that's even better.
The keeper of the flame or something. You know, so he's spending all of his days basically like, he's kind of like, you know, he's not standing there for hundreds of years like with an arm outstretched like doing it, but like he basically lives on the roof, and you know, he's the keeper of the keeper of the flame, and like kings and queens have come and gone and that, but he's just like, no, this is my duty, I must keep the flame burning. And
he's just been tricked or something.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't even think tricked. I think he's just like got an overinflated sense of like how important he is. So he's just like, if this flame goes out, it's kind of like there are things like that, aren't there? Like, you know, it's like the memorial flame on our things and that, and if it goes out, it's a bad omen and stuff. Except like he's really the only one that thinks that it's. You know, it is kind of like a national monument sort of thing, really. Like, oh, the flame on top of the Duke's Palace in Serenal. But
I'd imagine it would give hope to people and be like, see that flame never goes out. Neither should you like give up, kind of thing. Or
exactly.
Like, yeah, that's cute. That's
I like that. That's cool.
I like that.
Rather than it just being a lighthouse, because I feel like if that's where we're putting the Duke's Palace. That
sounds really good.
It's already kind of on like the end of it because they think they're more important than everyone. Well, they are kind of more important than everyone else. But you know what I mean? You know, it's already there as like a sort of like, oh no. So people must. It's really is like a look at us sort of thing. You can pretty much see it from anywhere else in the city, sort of thing. You know that we're more important than you, sort of thing.
Yeah, because there's a thing in a village near where I live, and they basically burn a barrel every year to take in the new year, and then the barrel like travels through the town, and then they set it on a thing and throw gasoline at it.
Right. Okay. Is there
to
anything
celebrate
in it?
The new year?
Or is it just like an empty barrel?
No, it's just wooden stakes, and the stakes are the flaming stakes are brought to significant people's doors.
Okay.
Before they go back into the barrel, and then they take the barrel down to the sea. It's called the Claygie. I think it's called the Claygie. It's a tradition that goes back. I think it was before when the calendar changed. So it's really old. Yeah, it's they had it a few last week, I think it was, and that's why that just popped into my mind.
Like a New Year's,
with the light,
a week after New Year kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, that's when they celebrate New Year. It's this tiny village that celebrates.
Okay.
And when the calendar changed, I think it was the Christian calendar changed, they still wanted to celebrate their New Year on that day, so they still do. The village. It's a tiny village.
Yeah.
But just with the flame, the thought of that just made me think of that story, that tradition, which sounds quite cool.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
They could do something similar as well. Like it's the day he gets honoured.
Or maybe there's like a kind of like the Serenal Fire Festival or something. Not like Fire Festival, cool. Like the Fire Festival, you know, but like jar rules involved and it's all a bit of a mess. But no, they're like the Flame Festival, we'll call it. So it's not quite the same as Fire Festival, but so like that flame is like the important one. But like once a year, you know, people will like kind of. There's a couple of big bonfires in the city, and then there's like the sort of nobility sort of things have quite sort of like, okay, we have this is the party to go to sort of thing. They have their own kind of quite sedate sort of like, the lighting of the ceremonial flame festival flame, and down in like the kind of
you could have it that the elf brings like a stake from his fire to like a special like party or something,
a little bit like the Olympic flame kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like, and then it lights their fire or their bonfire or whatever, and then they have like the big party kind of thing.
Maybe we could even expand that to like, again, we're fully ripping off the Olympics here, but like maybe there is like a kind of annual event where maybe it's New Year, where like the head acolyte of that elf, so like the apprentice keeper of the flame, must carry a torch lit from that flame to the capital in the north to light their New Year flame or something.
That sounds cool, yeah.
Oh, that's like
and then
that's
they
a
could
quest
have
if
like,
there ever was one, you know.
And
I
they
mean,
could
it's a main
have
road
like,
there, but like
like the people like mark the route kind of thing, where like they do with the Olympic flame, like they all like celebrate its passing of the torch kind of thing, and wish the messenger or the apprentice well. Or you could even make it into like a race. Oh,
between apprentices.
Yeah, like you have like the best apprentices
to
of
determine
the country.
To determine who's the next
one.
Like who's the most prominent apprentice for the following year, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like they gain access to like certain knowledge or something, or they like progress like to the next stage of apprenticeship. And it could be like there's certain rules of the race, and they have to race from Serenal to the village,
to
the city
Vallanna at the north.
Vallanna, yeah.
Well, I was thinking, so maybe it's like, like a sort of maybe the keeper of the flame, the master guy, he only takes one apprentice a year. Maybe it's a thing like that sort of spread to sort of surround. No, I don't know. I was going to say maybe spread to surrounding villages, and they have to have studied under him. But like, if it's an every year thing, that wouldn't really work. You
could make it like every 50 or 100 years kind of thing. So it's because elves live ridiculously long lives. Yeah. So it's something that humans don't get to see very often, but it's kind of like a really high honor of being like involved in like. Well, maybe
it isn't like. I mean, this is again. This is the thing with these world building things. We say a bunch of stuff and then we go, wait, no, not that. Maybe it isn't like an elf that's been living the whole time. Maybe it was originally like. Maybe it still was just originally like a. There was like. It doesn't even need to be a magician or anything. It can just be that was the position, that there was somebody like the keeper of the flame. Mm-hmm. So now this is just how he chooses his successor or something. So it could be
open to anybody.
Yeah. There's a term limit on it. So like somebody is only keeper of the flame for a year, and then the successor is chosen by the person who wins the race to light the New Year's flame in the capital. What do you think?
I don't know if a position for a year, maybe 5 years.
Maybe 5 years, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Because a year doesn't sound like a high honor kind of thing. It's like, oh, I've only been here a year.
Yeah.
And then
I was the keeper of the flame back in 1283. Just that year,
Yeah, maybe like 5 years.
Maybe 10. Maybe 10 years is the thing, because then I imagine over 10, you sort of you might have like a decade where it's the keeper of the flame is quite sort of like quite not up himself, but you know what I mean, sort of like if he gets a bit of an inflated sense of self-worth,
yes.
And then people are going for the role just to take him down a peg and stuff and things. I don't know. There's a lot to be done there, I think. Yeah, so every 10 years.
Like you'd have it as well that he has like a certain like maybe he has a deciding vote or something for the King's Council or the Duke's Council, or maybe he has like a advisory kind of position, and being in his favor is like.
Or maybe they're only chosen from it. Maybe they're only members of the Duke's like household staff can be like in the running, sort of thing, and it is like a position of like quite. It's a position of prominence to be like, oh no, I was the I was the stable boy, and then I became keeper of the flame for 10 years, and the you're thought quite highly of. I don't know. I think we're going a little bit round in circles here, I think, but yeah, I don't know. That's something to think.
There's something there, though.
Yeah, there's something
there, though.
I think so. Yeah.
So we've got in that.
We got the Duke's Palace. There's a flame festival. Yes.
And the docks are further along.
The docks are like north end, and then like the south and like southwest, if you're really swanky, is the fancy end. The town is maybe like I say now I've got the grid overlay on the map. It's sort of maybe the town is about 10 miles long, kind of like spread out along the length of the. It's just a long
thin. It's like a long thin snake.
Yeah, because the sort of the close the waterfront property is the closer. If you've got like a waterfront property, you're you're part of the sort of elites. But then nobody wants to be that far from the waterfront, but like, hey, it's quite a long lake shore, so we could just keep building further south, sort of thing. So as a result, there's not a lot of like,
I just have this image of like houses just like as they go along the shore, just getting gradually taller, or like wider, or like their backyard or something is like more extensive and like beautiful, and they've got like their own manicured little like Zen garden kind
there's
of
a lot of actually like quite nice sort of like what in a smaller village would be like, wow, that's a massive manor house, but there's like a lot of keeping up with the neighbours going on of like, oh no, this is our waterfront Serenal property sort of thing. And maybe like I say it is
don't cross my lawn.
Yeah, maybe it is like a case of I'd say nobles from around the kingdom would have like their own Serenal estate sort of thing.
Yeah, they're like family estate almost, where they all take turns for parts of the year where they stay there and then they move on to like the next one kind of thing.
Yeah, so they might be the Baron somewhere else. Like I think I said when we did the pirate adventure, like Roxy was in prison for like putting the Baron of Duskwick to sleep by magic by accident
into a coma.
Yeah. So maybe he's got his like, and that's fairly far north. So maybe he's got like a winter sort of getaway place sort of thing.
Yeah. His winter ski resort.
Exactly. Oh well, like the opposite of skiing. You come south because it doesn't snow so much here.
Yeah, it's his relaxing spa resort. Then
exactly. Yeah, he comes down here for his treatments and
for his mental health.
Well, we sort of maybe we should make this episode about like the kind of the general area that this is in then, because I feel like I don't want to sit here and like really kind of map out like so here's a layout of the city, because I feel like that's more of a visual thing. We don't really need that. So maybe we talk about what like the surrounding area of the city is like then. So we mentioned sort of spa treatments and stuff just then. Already on the map, I've got a little village which we mentioned in our kind of it was like a sort of epilogue for when we did Curse of Penance on over on Penance RPG.
This is Mudwitch.
Yeah, there's a little
Mudwitch,
village
yeah.
like I kind of came up with. It's kind of across the water there, which is sort of like a bit of like a hot spring. So they got like mud baths and things. And because I'm super unoriginal, I just called it Mudwitch. But yeah, I like the idea that every little village around the sort of in this area is like, okay, they're really truly trying to sort of push their own little brand of like, okay, this is the treatment that will get you well. This is a wellness treatment. Especially if there's like a kind of flocking of kind of nobles to the area, they want to be the ones to be like, oh no, you want to come to Mudwitch for the mud baths. We're so much better than those fools down at Silvercross with their their treatment sort of thing.
Their steam bath treatment.
Yeah, steam. Hot mud is where it's at,
Gets all the impurities out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're none the wiser.
So I think it's a bit like maybe there's like a bit of a cottage industry in the area of like wellness treatments.
Yes, and they're all in like trade battle with each other, like over customers. And they always bad mouthing each other.
Like I mean the other one I've got like at the far end, like the southern end of the lake is I called it a village Meltwater. So maybe their thing is like they're like, no, we have the purest waters. They come straight from the mountain here. The mountains are only 12, 15 miles away here. Not like those fools in Mudwitch where it's a good 30, 40 miles away. We have the purest of waters.
I'm just thinking of is it Avion baby? Evian baby. I've just got that in my head now because that image. Yes, but you could have it that the Arla Shore one is like the real deal, and that's why it's slightly bigger.
Yeah.
You could have it that's the one that, and the other ones are kind of like quacks.
Mm.
Or knockoff kind of ones. I don't know. It just seems because you've got like 3 roads going into it, so
yeah,
it just looks a bit more.
I mean, this is just lines that I've drawn on a Photoshop thing, but I mean, that kind of makes sense. And also, like Arla Shore is like the first big town this side of the border from Ashala as well, which again I could totally add more in, and I probably will, because like thinking about it in like we got like a 30-mile jump there where there's nothing. I feel like there would be a couple of like things there. I'll get to it. The map isn't finished. Yeah, I like that idea that maybe there's like a druid who lives in Arla Shore who's like actually doing proper wellness treatments, and everybody's got the wrong end of the stick and thought like, oh no, it's the water of the lake. Whereas really it's just like a super good it's a super good healer.
He's just putting like like assessing each patient and like just adjusting the dosage of certain like herbs or something, and
it's just like a really good pharmacist, and everybody else is like, it must be the water's magic. And he's just like,
there's a whole family of them. And they've all got like different specialties. They
basically are like they're just really good at nutrition.
They're natural. No, it's not naturalists. Naked people. Oh
no, we ran into this problem before. I think in the first, I might cut it out actually. In the first of the Things from the Flood episodes, where we couldn't decide whether Dragon's character was a naturist or a naturalist, and I had to look it up. A naturalist is the one that likes plants, and a naturist is someone who doesn't wear clothes. So
this whole naturalist family, or it's like a
they know their herbs
something
and stuff. Kind of like a sort of they know what they're talking about, and they treat people well and stuff. But like news doesn't travel. Like it only rumors have traveled.
It could be like maybe a hidden like Buddhist kind of vibe. Where they're like monks or something. There's maybe like
there's a monastery there or something.
Monastery or something, or they're just like a group of very passive people who don't get involved in drama. They're just there to heal, and then they're like, okay, bye, and then they just leave you alone. You're like, oh okay.
Yeah, they don't promote themselves or anything. So really, only the rumors have spread
or anything, or maybe they don't even communicate and stuff. And their main job is just to help and heal and
Oh, they're
go on
taking a
with their
vow of
daily
silence
life.
kind of thing, and yeah.
Oh god, that could be hilarious. I just think of Envy and just be like, oh dear, and oh dear. He'd probably enjoy it actually because it's so quiet.
I like it. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe that there's like, because that Arla shore is quite, it's sort of near the shore, but it's not right on it. It's like a couple of miles from the actual lake. Mainly just because that's where I put the dot. But it's also near some mountains, so maybe the monastery is kind of like at the foot of the mountain. And like the town has kind of grown up around it because of that and stuff.
Yeah,
and
maybe the temple like overlooks the town from where it sits at the base of the mountain.
Yeah.
Or,
so maybe
the
the sort of the kind of pushing of health treatments in the other villages and towns is a bit more of a more recent recent thing.
Yeah, they like travelers have came through it and they'd be like, "Oh, this is a very good idea. I'm just gonna watch and write down what you're doing and run off with the ideas."
Maybe since the Demon War, like these have all spread up, kind of thing.
Yes,
because that was like, what did I say? It's like 60 years or something like that. So the villagers were there before that, but like this is a more recent craze sort of thing of like, you know.
I mean, you could have it that some members of Arla Shore have like moved on to these smaller villages, and after the Demon War, because like people were injured,
there was healing needed.
So there was healing needed, and maybe they never returned, and passed on their skills, and down the line their skills have gotten like muddled, or bits of pieces have been forgotten, and that's why the treatments aren't as successful.
Maybe they went out to these villages and did their healing and stuff, and like since then all of what they were doing is being copied by the locals kind of quite ineptly. Like they didn't stay there. Like they went out, did the healing, went back to the monastery, and are just, you know, carrying on as they were.
Yeah, that works.
And the locals have sort of been like, "Oh no, I saw what he was doing. This is what we should say. This is what we should be doing." You know, thinking they know what they're doing.
Mud is what he used.
Yeah, he used mud to heal it. And it's like, no, the guy was just maybe stuck in mud or something. And like, this isn't to say that the mud doesn't have like a positive healing effect. You know, it's quite soothing and stuff, but it's not magic. Whereas what the guy was doing was magic. I don't know. Yeah,
no, that perfectly works as well. That's quite a good inference for the villagers.
I just quite like the idea of like a bunch of villagers all getting the wrong idea and then fleecing all of like the nobles out of their money because they're just like,
it's always some fisherman's wife as well that does it, speaking as a daughter of a fisherman.
they speak with authority as if they know what they're talking about, like
I just have images of this fisherman like practically beating some poor soul. This works for you. You have to attend to the muscles.
Yeah, we beat you with the reeds because that is good for you.
It helps the circulation. Oh yeah, I could see that being a whole thing.
Yeah. I'm kind of imagining running a whole story arc where it's like Bork, Prance and Eneve go on a new age health retreat and just like 6 episodes just get beaten up by a variety of different villages.
Yes. Or one of them, they're all suffering from a different sickness.
Yeah.
And they have to somewhere. They've picked up somewhere and they have to find a cure, and each cure is in like
a different village.
But they all have to suffer the same amount.
It's less of a D&D campaign and more of a travel documentary.
Or a torture documentary.
I think it would be quite funny.
Sorry guys, I'm going to say this now.
I mean, you never know. Like I said, I'm going to give it up, kind of leave it up to them where they go after we come back to those characters. So they might turn south and go there. You know, they're pretty much at the halfway point. They're in Wild Meadow. They're they're a little bit closer to Vallanna than Serenal, but like they could go back to the main road and go, oh, we're going to go south. You know, in which case they've got a lot of villagers waiting for them. We shall see. Stay tuned.
I'm just looking at the mountains to the northeast, and you've got Stalheim. Is that...
That's going to be Dwarven, yeah.
a dwarven city. So is it kind of going to be? Have you an idea of its minerals or?
I think I put like a lot of the dwarven names are sort of like a mixture of like English stuff and like sort of slightly Nordic stuff and Germanic stuff. My idea with that was I think it's maybe like an iron mine, so not like a huge city, but like it's not tiny. It's maybe about the same size as that one we talked about before, Shalefast.
Okay.
So there's a few thousand people living there, a few thousand dwarves and stuff, but it's not a huge city sort of thing. But it is, it is kind of like focused around the mine. Yeah.
More of an iron mine outpost.
So
I'm just seeing like the path to the city.
Yeah. Well, I kind of put a dotted line there because it is more of like a sort of bit of a sort of trail. It's not like a, it's easy enough to travel, but it's not like a main road sort of thing. Those are my three types of paths on the map: is the thick yellow line, the thin yellow line, and the dotted yellow line, sort of thing.
It just looks like I would imagine that it would probably be Serenal's prime source of iron.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's also got that a small river running through it, so you could also have it transported by boat as well.
Although I have made that quite thin on purpose, sort of thing, to be a bit more like
more
a
like
sort
a
of
creek.
No, I mean it's a river, but I don't think you could get like a big barge up there or anything.
Okay.
This is the problem with it being like to scale, sort of thing, because if it shows up on the map, it is probably, you would think it'd be quite big, but I'm just sort of in my mind, it's not a huge river, sort of thing. It's
No, that's worse.
And I've been meaning to add a lot more kind of lakes and rivers and things to the map, really, because there is quite a lot on there, but you sometimes you're going like 40, 50 miles without a river. You don't tend to get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I need to do. But yeah,
that's cool. I was just wondering what that could mean for Serenal.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do kind of leave a lot of their kind of more sort of dirty industrial production to the dwarves there, so they get their iron. Maybe they're it's being turned refined into steel there as well, and then they just rely on it being carted in. Yeah,
I mean, because it's I'd probably assume that as well, because if we're wanting to keep it like that French Riviera feel that you're going for, you definitely don't want like heavy industry.
No, there's not going to be a lot of
at the other end. Yeah. No, that works. So you probably have like the dwarves hiring as well, other races, because you're wanting it mixed.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little bit of a boom town just because of its sort of proximity to the larger city sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like almost like a commuter.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really gone through like the full sort of over the whole map and gone, right, here's all of the dwarven places. But I'm thinking just because of how close it is, that it would be a bit of a sort of like, okay, yeah, we need people to run the carts, we need people to, the dwarves do a lot of the mining themselves because maybe they're quite sort of like, okay, we don't, these humans, we can't, we're not going to build our tunnels with humans in mind.
Like, you guys can do the paperwork.
Exactly, yeah. We definitely need all the if people are willing to be the
work for a salary or something,
transport side of things rather than the mining side of things. They may be employing people from the area to do that rather than like. So then they've got more miners and stuff and things. So the dwarves are making money out of this. Yeah, I like that as an idea. Yeah, which is again totally like a little bit of a coincidence of just I happen to put some hills there and a dot on them.
it kind of opens up the possibility for like a story where say the iron isn't coming in and Serenal's got like a shortage and they could be sent out to check out the mine, and you could have a whole little mini, or you could send someone have a side story where they.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of sort of there's potential there for stuff to happen.
It's just like a little side, like we're not getting any iron.
Yeah, how am I going to make the new crockery for the king's? Well, not crockery, the king. The duke demanded new spoons.
Silverware.
How can I make
silverware?
There is a little village on the other side of those mountains, which I didn't think about. I just called it Silver Sage, and then looking at it now, all I got, my brain is just going, it says sausage. Written down, it looks... That's neat. I might have to change that.
Silver sausage.
Yeah. Okay, so getting away from Silver Sage. There's a couple of extra little dots where I haven't really named any villages and stuff, but I'm thinking really that Serenal is kind of like the big name in the area sort of thing in terms of like population centre, so you're not going to have too many tiny villages that near to it. There's I think that there's a kind of big open area sort of to the east of it that I may fill in with a few more smaller paths and smaller little villages to make that a bit more of a farming area.
Mm-hmm. I was just about to say something like that. Yeah,
because there needs to be a food source, but because I mean that's 60 square miles. That's not right, is it? 20 by 60. Yeah. So that's like 1,200 square miles of farming land there. So, yeah, there's a lot to be added there. Again, because I haven't really got it on the map, we can maybe leave that for now. But what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Yeah, so because it's so close to the kind of ice spine mountains, I think we mentioned maybe that it is a bit of a sort of not industrial, but a bit of a trade hub as well. It's a bit like the north end of town where there's like all the barges and things. And again, I haven't really added any kind of settlements actually in the mountains, but I'm thinking there's probably going to be some dwarf ones there as well. Just being expert miners
more
and
towards
stuff.
Like Passford and Spirefoot?
Sort of, but actually up in the mountains there.
Okay.
Or at least sort of in some valleys and things. I need to sort of sit down and kind of think of those, but just in general as a concept, I'm thinking that the lake and the river that leads out of it are pretty much. I mean, I've called the lake the Lifeblood River because it really is like a sort of major trade route. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they're bringing resources and things down from the mountains. It's all kind of coming together at Serenal and then being sent north on, up the river. Yeah,
it's like being sorted and orders.
There's some big businessmen who've maybe because of that been able to get their own little manors in the south end of town. They've made a lot of cash, so yeah. Again,
I like the idea of like at the mouth of the river. Would you have like a dwarven settlement near there so that they could like
on the south end of it?
Yeah.
What kind of where it comes down from the mountain, maybe? Yeah. Because
I could imagine that because it's such an important tributary to the lake, you could maybe have like a waterfall or something coming out of the.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like a sort of. I don't know. Maybe there's like a big, massive dwarven lock there.
Yeah.
So like the river comes out of the mountain, but like the dwarves have already put it on barges before it comes out of the mountain. So like this
or thinking of like the dwarves' like ability to like, their whole idea of like technology, they don't really share technology. You could have it like it's like a dam almost, and it's almost like their towns like.
So maybe there's another smaller lake up in the mountains, like underground.
Yeah,
and they've kind of dammed it off, and like then the barges full of their materials then come out of it in this lock and come down the mountain sort of thing.
Yeah, you could have something like that.
That sounds kind of cool. I've kind of got a sort of image in my head of that actually, but I think I would need to actually sit down and draw it out just to get it so I know what I'm talking about there.
Because I can imagine that dwarves in their own cities are very, very secretive and very they don't really like outsiders too much.
No, I mean
kind of thing, and
they're not like openly hostile, but they pretty much keep themselves sort of thing.
Yeah. I just keep thinking of the dwarves in Orzammar. They're like, go away, outsider. Yeah. The doors are shut.
What are you doing here? Get out.
But the king needs to speak to. I told he's not my king.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a sort of trope in fantasy stuff for dwarves to be like that, but it's kind of a cool trope. I don't know, because they're sort of like that in Warhammer as well. And
I think it's just because they're stubborn. They're just stubborn, stout folk, and they don't like being bossed around by tall people.
Yeah, it's a little bit less of that in World of Warcraft, but like again, they've got their own thing going on. Sort of thing.
Got our own shit to deal with.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that idea of just like a sort of. In many ways, they're like their technology is more advanced than other people, but they don't feel any inclination to share it. They're like, no, we're happy to be part of your kingdom. We're allies, and yeah. Oh, you want to know about our boats and things? No, I can't do that. You know.
No. Family secret, that is.
You want to know how we built the lock? Oh, I can't tell you that. You know.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah. I will trade with you. We won't tell you how we did it, though. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll trade you this for that, but I won't tell you how it's made or how it works or.
Oh yeah, why would you want to know that? Well, if I tell you that, I'll be out of the clan, you know, sort of thing.
I'd be out of a job.
Yeah,
you'd know how to make them
above my pay grade. Yeah,
yeah, that's a good one.
And like, there's like a dense dwarven bureaucracy that's almost designed so that nobody can like. Oh, you want to know that? You have to get a permit from such and such, but like, there's so many hoops to jump through to get that, and it's like. Yeah,
yes,
people give up long before they
hitchhikers.
Yeah. Exactly.
You need a pink form.
Oh god! I gotta get a pink gem from. It's exactly that bit from Curse of Penance, where we have the wrong types of gems to get the information that we want.
Yep. Oh, sideways. The last episode. That I was in for Plummet. Have you listened to it?
I haven't listened to it yet, but
okay.
I heard about it, and I heard about some intents to murder one of the other characters from potentially you and somebody else.
Yes, but there was also a bit where Karis was enamored by a pink gem, and I was like, "Look, there's an elf. There's a busty elf on a swing."
History's repeating itself.
Yeah, I couldn't help it. When he said pink gem, I went, Osmond! And Karis was a tiefling, so I was like, this is perfect.
A little bit. Again, this is a bit off topic for Pretending We're Dice listeners, but that's fine. We'll talk about it. I will say, and I'm not putting him on blast here, but I'm not entirely sure I'm happy with Squid's decision to say that tieflings have cloacas, because that's totally not how I was picturing Osmond when I was playing him. I was like, maybe there's a different variety of tieflings, but that's not Osmond's deal.
It's more the image of a tiefling having a stone golem for a leg.
Yeah, I've been trying to picture that as well.
And how he can run.
With great difficulty.
And then in last episode, he said that all he had to do was he's probably faster just picking up his other leg and letting the golem run.
Yeah. Well, anyway, listeners should go over to Penance RPG to find out what on earth we're talking about. But yes.
Madness.
I feel like Osmond's still planning on we're going to return at some point. We just need to sort that out. That may be one of the things we do this year. I know we were meant to do it last year.
I thought we were just waiting on...
I think we were. Yeah, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Anyway. Is there anything else you feel like we should... I feel like we should bring up in regard. We've kept it fairly vague, but I think that's kind of the flavour of these world building episodes. Really, is to kind of flesh out some stuff, come up with a couple of cool little bits, and then
it's also to leave it open for the once you get to get your players around this area, up to them how they can kind of help you shape it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to set everything in stone.
Yeah,
before they even get there, sort of thing.
It's too rigid that way, and then
I mean, it's one thing if you're playing in like a sort of like an established sort of, let's say like when we're doing Star Wars or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you know, that's one thing. If we're like, hey, we're in this place that has been seen in the, you know, it's already established, but like this is our own setting, and you know, I want to be able to get if they go to that town and then go, hey, so I need to know if there's this thing here, and I need the flexibility to be like, I think you can find one, without without being like, oh no, we did that world building episode and there definitely isn't one, of whatever it is they're looking for. So,
I mean, you only need a vague idea of what the essentials of a small town.
Yeah, we're more going for the flavour than anything else.
Yeah, and if your players come back to it, you can always expand. If they go back, like over time, things could change from their previous visit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot easier being vague, but at least having some details down than having nothing. So
exactly. Okay, well, I think that pretty much covers what we need to cover with Serenal. What we have done before on these world building ones is I've said pitch me something completely out of nowhere for the setting. But if you haven't got on anything prepped, don't worry about it. It's totally up to you.
I don't have anything prepped.
Okay, don't worry about it. I only just remember that. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Next time.
When was it,
we shall do something next
July,
time.
August or something? We last recorded one of these. Yeah, it's fine. We'll get one
the last
next
one
time.
we did was the Demon War.
It
that
was.
was the
What
last
was the
one
date
we did.
on that one? When did that go up? I restarted my PC before we did this. I haven't got the date to hand. It was a while back. Let's put it that way. So yeah, well, I think that we'll call this to a close then at that. Yeah, thanks again for joining me again for one of these. It's always fun.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed it. It's good fun.
I think I want to try and keep the things rolling with the bonus episodes a bit more this year. So I'm sure we'll do some more of these very soon. So yeah, okay. Have you got anything you want to plug before we finish this up?
I need to listen to the new Penance RPG episode, which is going to release this Sunday. Well, no, actually,
it will have already gone live by the time this goes up. It'll
already be live.
So maybe just
check
say,
that out.
go and check out.
We'll both be surprised because I wasn't in that episode.
Yeah, things got weird, but yeah, we are both on Penance RPG's ongoing Plummet series, so check them out. It's just at Penance RPG, right?
I think so.
I think so. Could be. Yeah. In the meantime, though, we'll be back next week with another Things from the Flood episode. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back, hopefully, I think, in 2 weeks' time with yet another bonus episode. Maybe another world building one like this. We play these a bit fast and loose, really. As I said at the start, be sure to check out our Discord channel. Come and hang out, chat, all that. Share some dumb memes and things, because that's our deal, apparently. And memes. But yeah, in the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we are at Pretend with Dice. Or you can email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com, although in the nearly 3 years we've been doing the podcast, no one's ever sent us an email. So maybe it's time somebody did. Yeah. I'm not putting anyone on blast here, but yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.